Hey folks, it's Rob, and welcome back to my series on the Dungeon Masters Rulebook from the Back Me Basic set for 1983. I do believe this is part 14. Oh, I got that in the mail recently. uh, Guess we can give a shout out to the Dungeon Minister. He's got a great channel. Uh, Father Aaron is a fine fellow when I can talk to him. Anyhow, episode 14, we're going to carry on with the monsters. We are nearly done, actually. We have this page, and then that is it. We're going to go from spiders to zombies in this episode. And then that's us completed the monster section. We're going to get on into a fine detail into the treasure section. And then there's going to be some final concepts and like monster customization, that kind of thing. And that's going to complete the series. I just finished recording a special video on a special acquisition on the. I just recently got. In case you didn't bother to watch the bonus video, it's going to be about me having acquired the 5th set, the Immortals set for the eye for my Beckby, and I wanted to clean it up, and I thought it'd be a great time to talk about it while on camera, right? So just did that. Go ahead and watch it if you haven't already. Going to be outside the regular release schedule. So that basically, once I have that one ready, I'm just going to throw it up immediately because it's a bonus. This one's going to be on the regular scheduled night. For those of you watching in the far future when things have already gone out. Right now, I currently put these out on Saturday night, Sunday mornings, depending on where you are in the world. And right now it is very late Thursday night, Friday morning, which is when I do a lot of my recording, honestly, because my work week is done and my wife is asleep, and I go with the artificial lighting so I have something consistent, right? It's the process I've established at this point. But once we finish this, we'll move forward. Well, I do want to do some more talk about the monsters of the setting. We'll see. Well, I will see what I'm going to do. But I thought some actual gameplay might be nice. But I could move into the expert set. Your opinions are worthwhile. Like to hear them. Right, let's get to work. Spider, comma, giant. We have actually 3 kinds of spiders. Crab spider, AC 7, hit dice 2 with an asterisk, move 120 by 40. In web, no webs. So crab spider doesn't have webs. Attack is by bite, 1 bite. It does 1 to 8, but also poison. 1 to 4 crab spiders will appear in either overland encounter or random encounter or in their lair. Save is fighter 1. Morale is fairly low at 7. Treasure type U, that'll be in their lair. They are neutral because they are animals. Well, they're not even insects. They're arachnids, right? XP value 25. The headliner is, all spiders can be dangerous and many are poisonous. All are carnivores, either trapping their prey in webs or jumping at victims by surprise. However, they are rarely intelligent and will often flee from fire. Definitely not your Tolkien spiders, okay? These are just massive, regular spiders. The crab spider, this is a 5-foot-long spider with a chameleon-like ability to blend in with its surroundings, surprising on a roll of 1 to 4 on a d6. It clings to walls or ceilings and drops onto its prey. After the first attack, it can be seen and attacked normally. Any victim of its bite must make a saving throw versus poison or die in 1 to 4 turns. That's 10 to 40 minutes. Great. However, the poison is weak, and the victim gains a +2 bonus to the saving throw roll. Okay, so you have possibly a better than even chance of actually making the saving throw, but save or die is very much a thing in this version of the game. And it's incredible to think of, like, you could be throwing like a, you know, 8th level fighter at something, it gets bitten by a crab spider somehow, and it fails. They fail their, like, check of, like, I don't know off the top of my head, like 5 for their poison save check at +2, and they just die. They just die. It's not unrealistic, but boy, is that a downer. um, Again, I like damage for most poisons, but you know, again, very little recourse to poison at this level of play. Black Widow, armor class 6, hit dice 3 asterisk, move 60 by 20, walking around, but on their web 120 by 40. 1 bite. The bite does 2 to 12 and poison again. 1 to 3 Black Widows will appear at a time. I don't know about that. I mean, these are special magic giant Black Widow spiders, but Black Widows tend to be fairly solitary in actual nature. Fighter 2 is the save. Morale 8, so slightly more, resistant to breaking. U for treasure again, the layer that's going to be on all the spiders. They are neutral again because they are animals, and they have an XP value of 50. Black Widow Spider, this is a vicious arachnid, is 6 foot long, oi, and has a red hourglass mark on its belly, usually stays close to its web layer. The web should be treated as the magic user's web spell for the chances of breaking free once entrapped. The webs may also be burned away. Any victim of the bite of a Black Widow spider must make its saving throw versus poison or die in 1 turn, 10 minutes. Rough, right? But, it's only 3 hit dice. If you happen to see a Black Widow spider in its web, 6 foot long Black Widow spider, that's right. Just, I don't know, maybe if you're old enough or you like old cartoons, remember that old Johnny Quest with the eyeball walking around on legs? A little smaller than that. Great. Time to throw the flask of oil and a torch down there at it. Let it catch on fire. The fire will certainly help eat up some of that 3 hit die. Give yourself a head start because it's not hiding like the crab spider is. The Tarantella, or Tarantula, as we might otherwise call it. A Tarantella is a huge, hairy, magical spider which looks like a 7 foot long tarantula. See? Tarantella, tarantula. Its bite does not kill. Instead, it causes the victim, if a saving throw versus poison has failed, to have painful spasms which resemble a frantic dance. This dance has a magical effect on onlookers. Anyone watching the dance must make a saving throw versus spells or start to dance in the same way. Dancing victims have a penalty of -4 on their hit rolls, and attackers gain +4 on their hit rolls. The effects of the bite last 2 to 12 turns. That's 20 minutes to 120 minutes, or 2 hours. 2d6. However, dancers will drop from exhaustion in 5 turns, and they will then be helpless against attacks. Those caught while watching will dance as long as the original victim. In the D&D expert rules, there are magical means that cures the poison, and a dispel magic spell will stop the dance. Interesting to give you this information when you can't really do anything with it, but you just have this product. But it is also, ongoing information. You collect your monsters between all the sets. Oy. But yeah. The Tarantella is a armor class 5, 4 hit dice with an asterisk. When we saw why. 120 by 40 movement, doesn't have any webs. It bites. 1 to 8 damage plus the poison we talked about. 1 to 3 appear. Again, tarantulas tend to be pretty isolated, independent, I guess. But your game, Fighter 2, morale 8, treasure type U, neutral, 125 XP. So, spiders. We in the real world, of course, actual Black Widow spiders can also be dangerous to you, not just the 6 foot large ones. But We don't have any stats for that. Use those as you see fit. Moving on to Sprite, and not the drink, but instead the fairy creature. Armor class 1/2 asterisk, which means this is incorrectly printed. And as you can see here down at the bottom, XP value is blank. So the whole thing's been shifted up one layer. So we don't actually have the armor class here for the Sprite. What we do have is the hit dice for the Sprite. 1 to 4 hit points. We have the move, 60 by 20, but while flying, 180 by 60. They attack by 1 spell, damages see below. 3 to 18 will appear, or 5 to 40 in a Sprite layer. Probably like I would call it like maybe a glade in the forest, something like that. Fairy ring, something, right? Smurf village. Number appearing 1. Well, sorry, we did number appearing 3 to 18 or 5 to 40. Save as Elf 1, Morale 7, Treasure type S. They are neutral in alignment, but they are intelligent. XP value 6. Sprites are small winged people, about 1 foot tall, related to pixies and elves. Although shy, they are very curious and have a strange sense of humor. 5 sprites acting together can cast 1 curse spell. This will take the form of a magic practical joke, such as tripping or having one's nose grow. The exact effect of the curse is left up to the DM's imagination. Sprites will never cause death on purpose, even if they are attacked. It then moves like this. In the D&D expert rules, effect of the Sprite's curse can be countered by a remove curse spell. Practically, use these as an encounter. They could be advantageous. They could potentially be negotiated with. But Sprites are, the source material, they are practically immortal fey creatures. They are bored. They are bored out of their freaking skulls and want just something fun to do. And if that means making you have a hard time, they'll do it. And they don't want to work. That's still boring. They want to have some fun. And their fun can be quite dangerous, but they're not lethal in this particular instance. They're not going to purposely kill somebody, but they might accidentally kill somebody. Oh, Sturge. Boy, I had forgotten exactly just how nasty Sturges were when I used them for the first encounter I threw my wife at. Yeah. What I thought was going to be a fairly cakewalk for her and her retainer companion was her dying twice. Yeah. Sturge, armor class 7. Fairly easy to hit, like a goblin. Hit dice 1, an asterisk. Okay, each Sturge, you roll a d8 for hit points. They move 30 by 10 on the ground, but they fly 180 by 60. They attack once. The damage is 1 to 3. Well, it all sounds pretty innocuous, doesn't it? 1 to 10 appear, or 3 to 36 in their lair. Now, admittedly, I did eventually have her find the lair, but she didn't do well in even the first encounter. With just, I think I threw 3 of them at her and her companion. Save is fighter 2. They have a pretty, reasonable save. Morale 9. They're fairly fierce. Treasure type L in the lair. Alignment neutral, because they're kind of weird animals. XP value 13. A Sturge is a bird-like creature with a long nose. Now, again, I think in the secret mythology of this game, Sturges come from the fact that a lot of the people foundational in this game come from Minnesota and Wisconsin. If you've ever been to Minnesota or Wisconsin, or heck, even Illinois, where I'm from, you know what the Minnesota state bird is? The mosquito. And, yeah, guess what this is? It attacks by thrusting its beak into the victim's body and feeds on blood. A successful hit for 1 to 3 points of damage means that it has attached itself to the victim, sucking for 1 to 3 points of damage per round until dead. A flying Sturge gains a bonus of +2 on its first hit roll against any one opponent due to its speedy diving attack. Now, it needs room for that speedy diving attack, but maybe it's a high hallway, or in the case of the encounter I created, a windmill. The upper floor of a windmill. She died so many times. Such bad dice rolls. Anyhow, yeah, basically bird-like mosquitoes that will kill you, given the chance. They don't say how long they suck blood for, by the way. They just continue to suck blood. I guess you would put a theoretical upper limit as to how much blood it sucks. I mean, it's a one-hit die creature. How much can it possibly contain, right? But yeah, lovely. Don't let that put you off. But don't, definitely not for low number of player play, right? Here's a fun one. Thoul. I always call it Thoul, like ghoul, but TH. But it could be Thoul, admittedly. And I don't have a definitive answer as to how this is pronounced. But I'm going to call it Thoul, because that's how I've always pronounced it. And they are armor class 6. They are hit dice 3 ***. They move 120 by 40 because they are roughly human size. They attack by 2 claws or 1 weapon. The claws do 1 to 3 each, or the weapon does weapon damage. 1 to 6 Thouls will appear in an encounter, or 1 to 10 in a Thoul lair. Probably, I would say, a crypt, really. Save is fighter 3, morale 10. So, they're pretty robust, but they can be broken on morale, which is a little unusual for certain undead creatures. But these aren't the dumb ones, right? Treasure type C in their lair. They are chaotic, and XP value 65. A Thoul is a magical combination of a ghoul, a hobgoblin, and a troll, a creature explained in the D&D expert set. Except when very close, Thouls look exactly like hobgoblins and are sometimes found as part of the bodyguard of a hobgoblin king. The touch of a Thoul will paralyze in the same way that of a ghoul. If it is damaged, the Thoul will regenerate 1 hit point per round as long as it is alive. After a Thoul is hit, the DM should add 1 hit point to its total at the beginning of each round of combat. Unlike a troll, you don't need to do anything to cause permanent damage to a Thoul, and it doesn't require magic weapons. You just need to bring it to 0 hit points, at which point it will be dead. Okay? So it's not as overwhelming of a creature as, say, like a troll is, but it is a 3-hit die regenerating creature. So if the party's not focusing their damage on it, they're not going to bring it down very quickly, because it is going to regenerate a hit point every combat round. And again, you're going to want some kind of tracker, or write that down, right? Just like on the post-it note, like I would use to track a monster. I would just go, okay, damage, okay, and then I would just add on the +1 by adding in our point, right? And we continue to strike off more as we go. Troglodyte. These are also fun. Armor class 5, hit dice 2 ***. Move 120 by 40, again, roughly human size. The attacks are 2 claws and a bite. That all sounds so familiar so far, right? Damage is 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 4. So, each claw is 1 to 4, and the bite is 1 to 4. 1 to 8 troglodytes will appear in a random general encounter. 5 to 40 at their, I'm going to call it village, steading, whatever you want to call it. I guess steadings, too. I mean, they're troglodytes. We'll get into it. Save is fighter 2, morale 9, treasure type A. I don't think we've seen treasure type A yet so far. We may have to go and look over there. They are chaotic creatures, XP value 30. And you're like, what's so bad about all that? Well, a troglodyte is an intelligent human-like reptile with a short tail, long legs, and a spiny comb on its head and arms. Troglodytes walk upright and use their hands as well as humans. They hate most other creatures and will try to kill anyone they meet. They have the chameleon-like ability to change colors and use it to hide by rock walls, surprising often, 1 to 4 on a d6. A troglodyte secretes an oil which produces a stench, nauseating humans and demi-humans unless a saving throw versus poison is made. Nauseated characters have a -2 penalty on their hit rolls while in hand-to-hand combat with troglodytes. And what are you generally going to be in? Hand-to-hand combat. So an AC 5 functionally becomes an AC 3. At which point this whole dynamic changes dramatically, doesn't it? Because we have these attacks on a hard-to-hit creature, and yeah, it's not pleasant. Literally, because they stink horribly. But, imagine like, it's not a lizard man, I want to say. It is a lizard man, but it's not a lizard man monster, right? It is... Ever watched Land of the Lost? Something a little more along that line. Well, it just occurred to me there was a 90s remake, and I don't think those creatures appear in that show. I didn't watch enough of it. 70s Land of the Lost, sorry. I know, most of you don't even have any idea what the heck I'm talking about. Undead. See, ghoul, skeleton, wight, or zombie. We're about to get to wight and zombie. The undead are evil creatures created by dark magic. They are not affected by things that affect living creatures, such as poison, or spells which affect the mind, such as sleep or charm person. They make no noise. So we've got some nice general rules there for undead. We now move into were creature, which we already did with lycanthropy. I think on episode 11, something like that. Don't quote me. I just did that off the top of my head. Were creature, were bear, were boar, were rat, were tiger, or werewolf. See lycanthrope. Wight, not Wigot. Wight. And not the Isle of. Armor class 5. Hit dice 3 asterisk. Move 90 by 30. A little slow. You can get away from that. Attacks 1. Damage. Energy drain. Why? We haven't encountered this yet, really, in this game yet. And this is something that old school Undead did. Energy drain. Number appearing 1 to 6. Or 1 to 8 at their, lair, crypt, graveyard, wherever they want to hang out. Save as fighter 3. Morale 12. They don't break morale. Treasure type B. Alignment chaotic. XP value only 50. A wight is an undead spirit living in a body of a dead human or dead demi-human. It can only be hit or by silvered or magical weapons. Wights are greatly feared as they drain life energy when striking a victim. Each hit drains 1 level of experience or hit die. Energy drain is explained on page 24. We did cover that. Any person totally drained of life energy by a wight will become a wight in 1 to 4 days and will be under the control of their slayer. Which is why you might have a few of these on site. Maybe they're also controlled victims. Just for a quick moment, we're going to go back to page 24 and talk about energy drain again. Just as a quick little aside refresher here, because that is a very important function of what we're talking about here. And energy drain is right here on page 24. This is a dangerous attack form with no saving throw allowed. If the character is hit by an energy drain attack by a wight, for example, the character loses 1 level of experience. A monster would lose 1 hit die from this effect. The energy drain removes all the benefits of that level, hit points, spells, and so forth, as soon as this occurs. The victim's experience point total drops to the midpoint of the new level. So, Yeah, you need like 2,000 XP for a fighter to advance to second level, and then it's like 4,000 for the next level. So if you went from third level to second level, you'd be at 3,000 XP, right? Um, a first level character hit by an energy drain attack is killed. So if they were, if you're through this at your third, second level party and they got drained down, they can be killed by the energy drain, as expressed on the Wight description, right? The character can only regain the level through normal adventuring and earning the experience points all over again. It does say here in the gray text that a D&D companion said a high-level cleric spell can restore level lost by energy drain, and that is true. But that's not an insignificant spell. As much as the SSI Gold Box games might have sold it to you as like something or service readily available from the temple, it's not an easy to get spell because you need a fairly high level cleric to cast it. Your setting is what it is. Obviously, there may be all kinds of priests about who can cast spells like that, but generally, less common. And that's something that this version of the game does very different from the modern version of the game. Undead are largely toothless in the modern version of the game, I feel, for reasons like this, where they don't paralyze, they don't drain energy levels, they don't cause diseases, they don't they don't possess and control people, right? In the same way that they do in this version of the game. Right. Yellow mold. Last one of these like random, not really animal, plant, vegetable, mineral creatures. Armor class can always be hit. You can always hit the yellow mold because it does not move. Hit dice 2 asterisk. Again, move 0. Attacks with spores. Damages 1 to 6 and a special. 1 to 8 will appear in general. If you somehow, you're not going to randomly encounter yellow mold. Really, you're going to move into an area with yellow mold. The yellow mold's not going to come find you. The lair of a yellow mold is only 1 to 4, however. Save as fighter 2. Morale not applicable. They have no mind. No treasure. Alignment neutral. If you could consider not doing anything other than what comes naturally, an alignment. XP value 25. This deadly fungus covers an area of 10 square feet. 1 for number appearing, although many may be found together. Yellow mold can only be killed by fire. A torch will do 1 to 4 points of damage to each round. To it for each round. It can eat through wood and leather, but cannot harm metal or stone. It does not actually attack, but if it is touched, even by a torch, the torch may, 50% chance per touch, cause the mold to squirt out a 10 foot by 10 foot by 10 foot, that is like a 1 square on your typical map, one of these over here, cloud of spores. Anyone caught within the cloud will take 1 to 6 points of damage and must make a saving throw versus Death Ray or choke to death within 6 rounds. Yeah. So I remember reading an encounter in a module one time that these were just like sitting on top of tin plates in an abandoned dining hall. And if the party, wanted to loot those supposed golden plates, they would encounter the yellow mold. And yeah, that's a good way to kill a party, right? Save versus Death Ray. Getting into the home stretch here. Wolf. We have normal wolf and dire wolf. No, their wolf. Well, their wolf. And again, the single largest piece of art I think we've had in this entire monster section, and it is wolves. If there's a monster I think you can picture in your mind that's not like a snake or a spider, it's a wolf. These are fairly doggish looking wolves, too. No, not that I'm sliding Easley's work here, but, you know, the silhouette definitely is very wolfy. But, I guess there's some distinctness of the wolf here, right? But huskies, I guess, like, yeah, that's like, geez, that's practically like my second Cub Scout badge. But, there's a lot of crossover between dogs and wolves, obviously. Let's get into it. Normal wolf, armor class 7, hit dice is 2 plus 2. So you roll 2 dice and add 2 points to the total, right? So that generates 4 to 18 hit points. Move 180 by 60. You can't outrun the wolf. Bite, 1 bite. Damage, 1 to 6. Number appearing 2 to 12 or 3 to 18 at their den, the lair. Save as fighter 1. Morale 8 or 6. We've seen that mechanic before. They'll have a pack leader, right? Treasure type nil. They don't care about treasure. They're wolves. Their treasure is your flesh. Neutral alignment. XP value 25. Wolves are carnivores and hunt in packs. Though they prefer the wilderness, they may occasionally be found in caves. Captured wolf cubs may be trained like dogs if the DM permits, but with difficulty. If 3 or less wolves are encountered, or if a pack is reduced to less than 50% of its original numbers, their morale is 6 rather than 8. So yes, they are less fierce if they don't have many pack mates. They are cautious. Wolves are not to be underestimated, honestly. Direwolf. Now, here we get into, more classic monstery kind of stuff. And you might have some of these mixed into with a group of goblins, which I'll remind you of, right? Armor class 6, hit dice 4 plus 1, move 150 by 50. They attack by bite, but that bite does 2 to 8 damage. 1 to 4 appear or 2 to 8 at their den or lair. Save as fighter 2. Morale 8 all the time, regardless of how many you encounter. Treasure type nil. They don't really care about treasure. They are neutral, 125 XP. Dire wolves are larger and more ferocious than normal wolves and are semi-intelligent. They are fierce enemies and usually hunt in packs found in caves, woods, or mountains. They are sometimes trained by goblins to be used as mounts. Captured dire wolf cubs can be trained like dogs if the DM permits, but they're even more savage than normal wolves. I would suggest coming up with some kind of difficulty role-playing check system for that if you were to have some captured direwolf pups. But hey, they could also be awesome. So it depends on whether you're playing Rule of Cool, right? And finally, Zombie. Armor class 8, hit dice 2, move 90 by 30. So, again, not that fast, as fast as the Wight is. Unencumbered humans can keep away from zombies, though, as you've ever seen in any real Romero zombie movie. 1 claw or 1 weapon. Damage 1 to 8 or by weapon. So, you can have the zombies wield weapons or you can have them just claw things. 2 to 8 will appear, or 4 to 24 in the zombie lair. The zombie lair is going to be like, a graveyard, a crypt, a pit full of corpses, that kind of thing, right? Zombies aren't natural by any means. Although, again, you're a setting, right? Save as fighter 1. Morale is 12 because they don't break morale. They're dumb undead. Treasure type nil. Alignment chaotic as far as any evil animated corpse can be chaotic. It can have an alignment. XP value 20. Zombies are mindless undead humans or demi-humans animated by some evil magic user or cleric. They may be turned by clerics but are not affected by sleep or charm spells. They can be harmed by normal weapons. Zombies are often placed to guard treasures since they make no noise. They are slow fighters and always lose initiative, no roll needed. So the party gets to act first, but they aren't formidable for this level of play. And but no special damage rules. Um, they have flesh, right? Um, they're not. I mean, I know we've had a whole 40 years worth of zombie movies since this came out. Use your zombies as you see fit, but this is Night of the Living Dead classic zombie. Okay? If you need your flavor. They aren't fast moving. They are fairly relentless. They are quiet, but maybe you want to have them say brains. Feel free. Feel free. They're your zombies. But with that closes our monster section. I was going to talk a little about a treasure, type A treasure, and then that's going to be it for this episode. So, A, easily enough, is right here at the top. So, there's a 25% chance of 1 to 6,000 copper, 30% chance of 1 to 6,000 silver, 20% chance of 1 to 4,000 electrum, 35% chance of 2 to 12,000 gold, 25% chance of 1 to 2,000 platinum, 50% chance of 6 to 36 gems, 50% chance of 6 to 36 jewelry, and a 30% chance of any 3 magic items. That is potentially a lot of treasure for treasure type A, and that's the Troglodyte lair. And that's why your party would be interested in defeating Troglodytes. Otherwise, they probably won't want anything to do with the freaking things because they stink and, live in dank caves and repellent, right? Anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Join me next time as we get further into treasure. We're going to do a nice deep dive on the treasure section. Probably after that it'll be in our section, but hopefully we can get... I don't know. There's a lot of described magic items that may have to be 2 parts for the treasure. But enough of me ranting and rambling. You all have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me here today. And again, your comments, likes, subscribes are very welcome. Anything you do in that way, I really appreciate. And if you have something that you want to ask, I'll certainly try to reply. Good night, everybody.